we go. Bam, bam. I love you. I love that you start respecting the reporter's optimism. Yes. Okay. Double feature? No, it's film class. I'm going to talk to you about this movie. So one thing that's really funny is after the credits, there's a special thank you section. Let me see if we can find it. Hold on.
I don't care if you don't care.
By the way, yeah. Hold on.
Well, let's just follow me.
Right there. This is fucking iconic. Okay. So just remember this. So here's the special thanks. And then it says, no thanks whatsoever to the Santa Rosa City District Governing Board. Okay. So you just watched Scream, one of my all-time favorite scary movies. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So the reason that says that at the end is because they were originally supposed to film at Santa Rosa City High School. Oh, is it still doubling? Oh, whoops. Do I have the wrong audio input on? Sorry, 1 second. Better. No, wrong one. Hold on. There we go. So the reason it says that is they were originally supposed to film Scream at the Santa Rosa City School or City High School. And like right before filming, the school board decided that the movie was too violent and like shut down the filming cold right before the movie started. And Wes Craven was so fucking pissed off. He was so pissed off that they had to move the shooting location and basically change the entire film, that at the end, he demanded that in the credits, it said, no thanks whatsoever to the Santa Rosa City School District Governing Board, which I think is maybe the only like straight up fuck you in a movie credits ever. It's incredible. Oh, thank you so much, Johnny. Thank you. What some other factoids about this movie that are incredible before we kind of get into our lesson, just some things that I know about this movie that are great. Skeet Ulrich, if you watch the early scenes, he's super intense. Skeet Ulrich is super fucking intense in the early scenes. And some of the first stuff they filmed was at the high schools. Like they filmed this movie almost chronologically. And apparently Skeet did not understand that it was supposed to be humorous. So he was like super intense to the point where, whoa, thank you. Scooty McScooterson. Thank you for the 10. To the point that Wes Craven had to approach him and be like, dude, you gotta tone it down a little bit. You have to fucking tone it down a little bit. Some other little tidbits and factoids is because they had to change high school, they actually extended the final party scene. And the final party scene constituted like 90% of their total shooting time. And it went on for like 48 days. They were shooting that last party. And so when the movie wrapped, all the cast had these shirts that said, I survived scene 118. And that became like a meme. And those shirts are like meme shirts that you can buy somewhere if you're like a Scream Ultra fan.
That's a long time, dang.
Because this one party scene went on and on and on forever. The other incredible factoid about this movie that is absolutely fucking insane is Matthew Lillard at that point was not like a household name like he is now, obviously. And he hadn't really done a ton of like prominent acting, but his girlfriend at the time was auditioning for Scream, and he came to the audition. And apparently Wes Craven fucked with his persona so much that he was like, I want that guy. That guy's incredible. So that is how Matthew Lillard got cast as the second murderer in Scream, which is fucking amazing. The other little factoid, a really cool thing, is that part of the reason that the opening was so drawn out is because Wes Craven very publicly said that he wanted Drew Barrymore as his lead. He literally was like, Drew Barrymore is my Scream Queen. But the studio was like, we want Nev Campbell. This is what we want. We want like the every girl. People know Drew Barrymore too much. We want more of like a lesser known. So that is why Wes Craven leans into Drew Barrymore so heavily, is because he wanted Drew Barrymore as his lead girl, which is hilarious. So let's get into our little film class now about Scream. Scream is a fantastic movie. And besides all the things that I just told you.
Oh, yeah, wow, that's very cool.
Scootim CSC Utsen
Thank
gifted
you.
a tier 1 sub to Philene.
Scream was
Oh, yeah,
kind of
wow,
a very
that's very cool.
unlikely
Scootim
success.
CSC Utsen gifted a tier 1
Because
sub to Stone
first and
Yuri.
foremost,
Oh, yeah,
the
wow,
Scream.
that's very
Okay, I'm
cool.
turning off the
Scootim
alerts. I'm
CS.
sorry. So basically, when the Screen script was penned, they knew that it was gonna be a hit. Like the screenwriters and the studios knew that it was going to be a hit. And so there was a bidding war, and the script was actually very expensive. So when they finally obtained the rights, they went after Wes Craven because they wanted like a horror expert, but Wes Craven had like no faith in the movie. Wes Craven had like no faith in the script whatsoever. And he also, like, as he was watching the movie, he was like, I hate the way this fucking looks. So basically, Wes made a movie that he was like, whatever, I'm getting paid. And I think it's because he was like so relaxed during the film process and like didn't take it seriously at all. It has this amazing sense of humor to it. I think it's like one of the funniest horror movies ever made to look back at. And the other thing that is so awesome about this movie, if you watch it back, it's so fucking self-referential and referential of the genre. It's almost like a Family Guy episode where like every fucking scene is like a reference to some meta horror convention or another horror movie or like some meta joke. Hi, Will, can you give a shout out to Tater Masher? She's hungry. Thanks. Shout out to that. I don't know what that means. Beyond that, I think if you watch the movie back, it is awesome once you know that Matthew Lillard and Skeet are the killers. There are so many scenes that it's like obvious that they're kind of like two bumbling teens. And there are a bunch of scenes where Matthew Lillard is essentially like giving up the game. Like when Sydney goes, how do you gut a person? And Matthew Lillard goes, well, you stab him in the chest and you carve down to the groin. And Billy's like, dude, chill, brother, chill. It is awesome. It is awesome. Scream is a movie I highly recommend if it is your first time watching it, that you go back and you watch it again and you check out all the little self-referential, tips of the hat that the two Ghostface do. Wasn't Dewey supposed to be dead? Yes, Dewey is supposed to be dead at the end of this movie, but audiences loved Dewey so fucking much that they brought him back for subsequent films, which is, I think, pretty awesome. You think it's real that Matthew Lillard is coming back for the next Scream? I mean, so I've watched every Scream movie, and the crazy thing is they have brought back and killed almost everyone. So if they bring back Matthew Lillard, I would buy it. He was in 7. He was in 7. Have I watched 6 and not 7? Okay, I haven't watched 7 then because 6 was so bad. Seven is next year. Oh, okay. Seven comes out next year. Got it. And Matthew Lillard is back. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be completely frank with you. After Scream 2, the quality of the Scream movies basically kind of falls off a cliff. Like it gets goofy and it gets like too referential. And do you not like 4? I mean, it's okay. 4 is decent. I honestly thought the 2022 one, the self-titled Scream requel film, was actually okay. And then 6 was a disaster. 6 was a total disaster. But listen, that's neither here nor there. Let us focus on the movie in question, which is Scream. Also, look at the original poster, how prominently they featured Drew Barrymore. Awesome. So yeah, if you are unfamiliar with a lot of the slashers of the 80s and 90s, this movie so perfectly parodies all those films. As I said, it's like The Boys for slasher movies, right? Boys is the disassembling of the comic book genre, and this is the disassembling of the horror genre. And I am so happy we got to start off our Spooky-tober with this movie. It is great. Anyway, I mean, if you've never watched any Wes Craven movies, definitely go watch Nightmare and New Nightmare and Hills Have Eyes. He really was a genius, and he was so fucking good at what he did. If you enjoyed this movie and you want to watch other slashers, you can basically watch all the movies that they reference within this movie, which is great. It kind of gives its own filmography if you want to go check the work. And then beyond that, if you kind of love the slasher genre and you want to go check out its origin, you can go watch Dario Argento films. I would recommend Suspiria and Deep Red and Tenebrae. This is kind of the guy who created the genre before it skipped over the pond and became horny teens at summer camp. But yeah, that's our little film night. That's my little spiel about the movie. I've given you some interesting factoids and tidbits. Now, do you have any questions about this movie, about slashers, about movies in general? That's what we do on film night. By the way, whose first time was it? And if it was your first time, give me a score. This was my first slasher, and I love that Ghostface regularly got his ass beat while trying to kill people. Was that part of this movie's response to other horrors? Yeah, I think Wes Craven, again, I think that's Wes Craven's kind of lot of 10 out of 10s, a lot of 9 out of 10s. That's Wes Craven's kind of self-referential feeling to like, oh, the killers in this movie are two shithead teens at a high school. I think he was trying to play that up. What do you think about Scary Movie parody? To this day, I have to split the two movies because I saw one before. I like Scary Movie. Scary Movie made me laugh. I think it's really stupid and dumb, and I thought it was a very good parody of Scream. 0 out of 10. Damn, you hated this. Okay. I don't love Scary Movie, but it was kind of iconic for the time and place. When you first saw Scream, did you figure out who the killers were before it was revealed? I was 13. So no. Or I was like 10, I think, when I saw this movie. It scared the ever-loving shit out of me. What is the first slasher film you've ever seen? I think Nightmare on Elm Street was the first slasher I ever saw. Poltergeist 2, not a slasher. Why were Tatum's nipples erect? Did it mean something like excitement? Tatum? Oh, Tatum Riley? I think it was just cold in the garage, brother. Rose McGowan. I think it was just cold in the garage when they were filming. Dream Warriors, baby, that was pure magic. Dream Warriors is pure magic. Was the font in the credits you wouldn't steal a car font? I don't know that for sure. It's close, I suppose. No, her nipples mean something. Got it. Scream, an American classic, always will be. Thanks, Will. Thank you. Are more gore movies like the Saw series considered slashers, or do they have their own genre? That is a fantastic question. No, they are not considered slashers. The genre that Saw and Terrifier and movies like that are considered torture porn. The genre is torture porn. If you like movies like that, the Criterion version of that film is this right here. I would highly recommend Ichi the Killer. Ichi the Killer is kind of like the magnum opus of torture porn. Warning, warning, warning. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's rough. What about The Cell? What about The Cell? The Cell is kind of just a pure horror with like some really, really like graphic violence. I wouldn't say The Cell is torture porn though. There's like that one cranking scene, but there's enough. What about Old Boy? Old Boy isn't even a horror movie. It's just a Korean drama. Lighthouse question mark. God damn it. Is there a particular inspiration behind the ghost face mask? That is a really good question. Apparently, the ghost face mask was actually like a costume that they found in a Five and Dime or like a Spirit Halloween store, because Craven had the props department make like 8 different costumes and he didn't like any of them. Off topic, you wouldn't steal a car font was allegedly a knockoff of copyrighted font, which makes it so much goofier. Interesting factoid. So slasher is like chase with blades. Slashers are known for their like really fast, like visceral violence. And then there are a lot of like other conventions. They're usually like sexy, if that makes any sense. Slashers usually are sexy. There's usually like a high body count. There's usually some kind of like stabbing utensil. Usually there's a masked villain. But there's a lot of different like shades of slasher, if that makes any sense. Like Dario Argento's European slashers are very different than like their American counterparts. And like the European slashers are like overwashed with color, and they're like super overexposed, and you get all these like crazy close-ups. And then like you can also say that Hitchcock, like Psycho is like, you know, one of the early proto slashers too. So there's a lot of different kind of conventions there. Is Funny Games a slasher? You could make an argument, I think. But Funny Games is kind of its own bizarre. You could make an argument. I'll say that. Black Christmas, very slasher coded. I wouldn't, but you could. That's kind of what I would say too. I would not argue that Funny Games is a slasher, but do you prefer slashers, paranormal, body horror, or straight up horror? Well, as I've said, some of my favorite movies of all time are Dario Argento and Hitchcock. So I really enjoy slashers. There's something about the visceral violence and also kind of like the mystery element of like, who is the killer? There's like a noir element of like, everybody's a suspect. Who is it? Who could it be? And I always really enjoyed that. So I really do like slashers. I think ultimately, I don't prefer genre over individual films. And what I mean by that is like, there are some phenomenal films in the slasher genre. There are some phenomenal films in the torture porn genre. There are some phenomenal films in the paranormal horror genre, but it doesn't mean that the entire genre is good. There are some real fucking stinkers in there as well. Thoughts on Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? Not many. I didn't really like it all that much. Ghostface keeps getting his ass beat. Is that to play up the fact that it's just two high schoolers? Yes. And I think it also has to do with the fact that Wes Craven didn't believe in the movie and he wanted it to be silly as a result, which kind of ended up making the movie better. But yeah, I think that was the point. Have you seen End of Days? I have. Did you see Weapons? I have. What do you think of the POV slasher style in A Violent Nature? A Violent Nature was really fun to watch, and I think it's like a really great twist on the genre. I think anytime you have a genre that has so many films in it, any movie that kind of puts its own little fingerprint on that is a cool, you know.
Oh yeah, wow, that's very cool.
Aberration or standard deviation away, and cool. It interests me. Would this movie be as popular if it wasn't so, would this movie be so popular if a movie, I'll make the correction for you, if it wasn't so meta? Does it stand on its own as a scary movie without the meta aspects? Do you think Scary Movie was a natural progression of this movie? Does Scream stand on its own without the meta aspect? That's kind of like asking, does Starry Night stand as a painting without the paint? I think it's impossible to separate the two. Like that, I don't think I can answer the question because that's like, does a movie stand without the most core aspect of the movie? Short answer, no, because the movie would be 10 minutes long.
Oh yeah, wow, that's very
Thank
cool.
you so much.
Lesson 3.
Like I think like Scream is intended to be self-referential and referential of the slasher genre. So like I don't know what it is without that. It's kind of like the core tenet. What the fuck? Silentred coat? 200? dude, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I have been doing this for 6 years, and no one has ever gifted
That's 2 shirts, Daddy.
200 subscriptions at one time. That is fucking insane. Well, I mean, Silented Coat, I don't know if you know this, but we have a fucking tradition here, and I have to go, I guess, rip 2 shirts off. Let me go get a shirt. I'm only wearing one. I need to go get a shirt. All right, guys, film class is on a brief hiatus. I got to go grab some shirts. I'll be right back. Thank you so much. We have a fucking tradition here. Stream first, 200 subs. Holy shit. 200 subs is crazy. At the same time, though, listen. I'm an old fucking man, dude. It's been 6 years. Right? Okay. Oh my God. You need some plain whites? True. Question, do you think Buffy the Thank you so much again. That was crazy. Question, do you think Buffy the Vampire Slayer the movie influenced this film? Maybe. I mean, Buffy's pretty camp, but I don't think so. I know David Arquette is in both of them.
The Floobs gifted a tier 1 sub to Astra_online. They have given 11 gift subs in the channel.
I don't know. I love that movie. I just don't know if it had a... Question, will you ever get a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie? Yeah, probably. I mean, if I'm... Yeah. Everything's getting remade. Have you ever watched Eraserhead for film night? No, I have not. Is there anything in Scream that you dislike artistically? Any choices or performance? No, I honestly, I think it's a movie that is pretty tight for what it is. You know what I mean? I think it's a pretty, I just think it's a, I think it works as a whole, and I think changing any individual piece might break the machine, right? Like it's perfectly imperfect. I think some of my favorite projects are imperfect. And this idea that like a project needs to be perfect or whatever, gets to a point that you're just kind of tooling with something that's really, it works, right? So why like reinvent the wheel? Like some of my favorite video games have, little picadillos in them. So for me to come in and say, oh, this needs to happen or this needs to happen, would kind of, it just works, man. Okay, continuing. The motives for the murders were super personal. So am I weird for thinking the deaths in the intro were almost out of place in the story? No, because if you pay attention carefully, you'll notice that Matthew Lillard's character didn't even know that the first murder was personal. And so I think, he was sold on an idea that they were just doing this for fun. Stu did date her. They mentioned that briefly. Matthew Lillard's character did date her, so that might have played some role in the in why Drew Barrymore was the first kill. But yeah, you can see that Matthew Lillard had no idea that the original kill, which was Sydney's mom, had any significance. Can you talk about the choices they made with lighting and why it felt intentionally bright compared to a lot of horror movies? Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, that's an era thing. That is an era thing. Where, oh my gosh, what the heck? Another 50. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think that's an era thing. A lot of people talk about how movies are getting darker and darker and darker to the point where you almost can't even fucking see anymore. And I think the 90s, just everything was still so studio that, studio films were studio films and studio films were bright and blah, 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 blah. Isn't Black Christmas 1974 like an OG slasher? Yes, it is an OG slasher. It is not the first slasher, though. I would say like the first pure slashers, maybe like Psycho is like the first. I mean, I'm sure that there are others that you can kind of point at, but Psycho to me is kind of like the first iconic. You know what I mean? Like, were there rock bands before the Beatles? Sure, but that's the one we point to. Why did they kill the principal? Why not? What movies are considered eldritch horror? I'm trying to find some. There is one incredible. Eldritch horror movie that no one has ever watched. That might be the best one that I would recommend. The Empty Man. If you've never seen this movie, this is like one of my favorite eldritch horror movies that not many people even know is an eldritch horror movie, but I don't want to reveal anything, but very specifically there is an eldritch god in that movie that, like, if you know the lore, you'll go, oh! By the way, I stubbed my toe getting a shirt and I am bleeding everywhere. Feels bad. Other eldritch horror movies: Color Out of Space, Glorious, The Endless, The Void, The Lighthouse. I'll fucking say it, to name a few. Will, I usually avoid horror, and I wasn't fucking with the Drew Barrymore part, but I'm really glad I stuck through it, and I loved it, and I found it funny and not actually scary. There you go. Goddamn desensitized kids. Can we see feet? I mean, my foot is bleeding, so it's technically TOS. I had a hot take in a comedy film class where I claimed Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down is a much similar to a horror movie than romantic comedy it was billed as. What do you think? I'd have to meditate on that. Also, the wording of that is a little confusing for a dyslexic person. You're saying that Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down is more of a horror than a romantic comedy. I mean, I think you can make a case for it. Would you consider crime thrillers to be in the horror category? I watched Cure by Kurosawa for my 31 Nights of Horror. Well, Cure is like uniquely fucked up and scary. Like it goes beyond like the typical crime thriller. I think Cure is kind of like, okay, for example, I think some crime thrillers you wouldn't, and some crime thrillers you would. Like Silence of the Lambs is technically a crime thriller, but it is arguably the best horror movie of all time. Same thing. Yeah. Zodiac is a good one. Seven. I think Seven is, yeah, you could make an argument it's a crime thriller, but it's, I would say it's a horror movie. True Detective has some cosmic horror. Yes. Will, are you pregnant? Yep. And we're getting ready to live stream it, baby. I'm preg. Do you think with all the remakes of this film, the franchise will start to feel worn out? I think it already has. I think Scream, the most recent Scream movies feel totally worn out. How do you feel about the slasher type films written Rob Zombie? You guys are really testing my dyslexic brain tonight. House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil Rejects, etc. I find them unique, but often give me the ick more than other in the genre. Is gore needed in a slasher? Well, I mean, you know what's interesting is like, I think Rob Zombie really heavily leans into his Wes Craven in a lot of his, and I think a lot of like the Devil's Rejects and the other one in that genre, like they're very heavily into like the sexual assault and sexual violence. And I'm going to be honest, that's still an ick for me. And I'm like the most desensitized horror viewer in the world. Like to this day, Hills Have Eyes is still tough for me. It just is like such an intense thing. Yeah. Have you ever watched Funny Games on stream? No, I don't think I ever will. Funny Games is one of those that I just think is too difficult to really teach anything about. Is Scream the only long-running horror franchise that hasn't added supernatural elements? No. Halloween. There are a lot. There are a lot of like slashers that never really have anything supernatural. Green Room is that horror or thriller, and did you like it? I think it's right smack dab in the middle, and I love Green Room. Halloween has supernatural elements, though? No, it doesn't. Michael Myers 1000% has powers? He is unkillable? I guess you can make like an argument for him being like super strong and teleporting. Jason too? No. Jason 100% has supernatural elements. 150 million% has supernatural elements. Michael Myers, though, is always kind of like just described as like a monster of a person who he's like so fixated with killing that he has like a preternatural ability. But I don't know if they ever explicitly like say like he's a demon or he's like resurrected or he's more supposed to be like the incarnation of evil in human form. He is literally immortal. Yeah, but never explicitly, right? Like there's always some kind of explanation as to how he survived.
The plot of The Curse of Michael Myers is that a cult of pagans gave him powers to not die to kill for them.
Okay, I will concede that it borders on, but I don't think they ever like explicitly say he has superpowers. I'm trying to think of like other slasher. What am I hitting? Other like slasher. We're thinking and franchises, right? You're not just talking about one-offs because there are a lot of one-offs. Oh, I know what you did last summer. There's nothing supernatural in that. The Strangers, I haven't seen the most recent Strangers, but I don't think there's anything like explicitly supernatural in that. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, nothing explicitly supernatural in that. Anyway. Final Destination. Final Destination is the most supernatural. What's the next movie? Give me a minute, man. We're not even done with this film night. It'll be another scary movie though. All the movies in October will be scary. Any more questions? Do you feel like horror movies are making a comeback? I feel like horror fans have been eating good lately. Absolutely, but like making a comeback, I don't think is the right verbiage. I think have made a comeback. Like we are already on a like a level of horror movies getting made and respected that like has never really existed before. I would say if you want to like clock out when that started, I would say that started in like 2017. Like Get Out was really this like pivotal turning point where all of a sudden like horror movies were considered like way more criterion. And so like elevated horror has kind of existed since then. The interesting thing is like prestige horror from bygone era was never really put on the same pedestal it is now. Like there are fantastic horror movies before that point for sure, but 2017 was kind of like the turning point where all of a sudden critics fell in line and audiences fell in line and they became much more general audience too. Yeah, I checked. I Know What You Did Last Summer flipped to supernatural stuff too. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Huh. Man, didn't know that. Well, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a good one that never had anything supernatural. Why do so many slashers take place in the US where so many people have guns? Is part of the horror that they are trivializing guns as protection? Man. I don't know. I don't think so. I miss the corny slasher horror movies like Jeepers Creepers, Scream, etc. Yeah, Jeepers Creepers holds up way better than you think. What do you think of the upcoming sequel to It Follows? I know nothing about it. It Follows is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I hope it does the first movie justice. Will, are you a Yankees fan? No. If you could make your own slasher movie, how would you make it original? Jesus Christ. How would I make a movie in one of the most played out genres ever unique? Yikes. Tough question to answer on the spot, man. That's a tough one. What would I do in a slasher? I would make the killer a cop. And I would make all the victims basically be ignored by everybody because they're being killed by a cop. What are your preferred horror movies rooted in realism and sadistic nature or supernatural? I believe that the realistic is scarier because it's believable. Ergo, Jigsaw is leagues scarier than Freddy Krueger. Yeah, I think ultimately the quality of a horror movie isn't absolutely tied to how scary it is. Also, I just think it is impossible for a lot of movies that are like more than a decade old to be as scary as the movies coming out now. Like, I really think Bring Her Back is like one of the most traumatic horror movies I've ever seen. Like, Bring Her Back, I left the movie theater like, I felt like I had the shit beat out of me. And that's not like a real horror. I don't know. It kind of depends on the director and how they picture it. Have you seen Malignant? I have. Do you like Smile? I actually really do. I like both Smiles, really. Who is your favorite current working horror director? Panos Cosmatos. Killing Justin Long is one of the best modern horror movie tropes. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Not an overreaction. Barbarian, best horror movie in the last few years next to The Substance, in my opinion. I loved Barbarian. I thought Barbarian was fantastic. Have you seen Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon? Yes. Love Behind the Mask. I'll give you guys a realistic horror that I think is one of the most terrifying movies I've ever watched. If you've ever seen the movie Man Bites Dog, Man Bites Dog is horrific. And it's like very based in reality. And like, it's not there's like a jump scary element to it, but Man Bites Dog is like, In case you don't know what Man Bites Dog is, or you've never heard of it, it's a French movie about a documentary crew following a serial killer, and they get a little bit too close. And it's fucking, it's a really, really, really good movie. Want something unique? How about a mad surgeon turning a man into a walrus? Oh, wait. I fucking hate that movie. That movie feels like the same sensation of having diarrhea. Like I respect it. I respect it for being so fucked up, but Tusk never really spoke to me. I watched Pulse for the first time a couple of nights ago, and it has stayed with me since then. I think it's because of how it was shot. It's so eerie. Yeah, Pulse is fucking terrifying. Sam Raimi. I mean, we've watched all the Evil Dead trilogy here, and what is the hottest horror movie? Hottest? Probably The Substance. The Substance at parts is like, hey now. I would also put X in that category. Under the Skin, but it's so disturbing that you won't really appreciate that. Only Lovers Left Alive is actually like really kind of sexy and beautiful and like cool. Queen of the Damned, I would throw in there. Interview with a Vampire, I would throw in there. Oh, and Jennifer's Body, dude. Jennifer's Body, man. Jennifer's Body was criminally misunderstood and criminally underrated. Jennifer's Body goes crazy, man. Where are my girls at? Jennifer's Body is literally one of those movies that I think, like, when it came out, people thought it was just another campy slasher. And then women were like, wait, this is fucking amazing. And, like, the testosterone ponies kind of warmed up to it years later. But Jennifer's Body is peak. Did you ever see Strange Darling? Yeah, that movie was traumatic, man. Is there any gay horror? Yes. I'm going to say something. I think, hear me out. I think all horror is inherently gay. I think horror, because it is camp, is like inherently for like relevant and enjoyed by a gay audience. So this will blow your mind, but I know so many like violently homosexual men that are diehard horror fans. Diehard horror fans. If you want like a very direct example, though, Rocky Horror Picture Show, like, obviously is super fucking gay Interview with a Vampire is super fucking gay. And Raw, a French movie, is like outwardly gay too. Did you like Human Centipede? I don't think one simply likes. Hannibal series is gay. Shh, shut up! Don't say that out loud. Hannibal is my favorite series of all time. Don't give away our secrets. Hannibal is like my favorite series of all time. Truly, it's incredible. How do you feel about the analog horror genre? I love it. I mean, the really cool thing is like the Backrooms is getting its own movie made by like the teen director, which is so cool. So I love analog horror, and I hope we get more of it. Silence of the Lambs is a gay horror. I suppose. I think Hannibal the series is much gayer than Silence of the Lambs. How come found footage horror died off? I don't think it has. There are still a lot of Korean filmmakers that are making found footage horror all the time. It's just less prominent. I think basically Blair Witch was like a nuclear bomb on society and in the box office, and it spawned like a bunch of imitators, but like all genres get hot and then kind of fall back at one point or another. It doesn't mean that it's like gone. Have you seen The Descent? One of the best ever. One of the best horror movies of all time. I love The Descent. Have you thoughts on Event Horizon? Event Horizon is the best flop ever made. I will say that. Of any movie to completely fucking bomb, Event Horizon is that shit. Event Horizon is perfect. If you like horror, it is a great movie. It is what Dead Space is based on. If you've ever played Dead Space, it literally is the inspiration for those games. The funny thing about Event Horizon is a huge reason that it bombed is the opening few shots, which is so funny. Event Horizon, they wanted to let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I can find this. I wonder if it'll have it in the trailer. Hold on. Yes. Okay. So this shot, instead of just doing CGI, they built this. They fucking built this thing in a green screen. They built this. So this shot, part of the reason it's probably featured so prominently right here is instead of just putting this window in a green screen, they fucking built this set and then fucking panned out. And this one, like, fucking set was so it was like millions of dollars. It was like millions of dollars. And it's a big reason that the film bombed because that shot is so fucking expensive. Which is hilarious. I always find that really fucking funny. I know you and a lot of streamers played that Japanese horror game Exit 8. They just made a film. I haven't played that game yet. I've always wanted to play that game. Sunshine by Danny Boyle, horror or sci-fi? Both. It is a horror sci-fi, and it's one of my favorite horror sci-fis of all time. Dude, maybe one of the best scenes in a horror movie ever. 6 life forms detected. Computer, correction, 5 life forms. No, 6. Cinema. Can you explain The Shining? No, not right now. The Frankenstein movies from the 1930s were directed by an openly gay man. Horror movies have always been a queer safe space. Also, Nightmare on Elm Street is super gay. I'll die on that hill. I think horror is inherently a gay genre. I think camp and horror are like this, and I think horror is a gay genre. Like it really is. The over the top performance, you know, it really is. All movies are gay because it's theater. You ever seen Any Given Sunday? The amounts of manipulation of color theory too for original horror filming. Yeah. What is a movie you would consider horror, but others might not? That's a good question. Man Bites Dog, I think, is a good example of that. And another one that we watched recently, Nightcrawler. I think Nightcrawler is like a good example of a horrific movie that's not technically like a horror movie. The first Terminator, I would argue that is like a hardline horror. I would say that the second Terminator is less of a horror movie than the first. Same thing with Alien and Aliens. Agent Cody Banks, another really good example. How do you feel about horror movies using specific hertz frequencies to elicit certain goosebumps versus the content naturally causing it? I feel like it's very cheap. I mean, that's like kind of the same argument against jump scares. I think some people love jump scares and some people fucking hate them. It just depends if you're like going to a movie for an adrenaline rush. Like some people, if the movie isn't packed with jump scares, they don't even like consider it a horror movie. They're like, that's not scary. So I think it really depends on like what you're looking for in your horror movie. Are you looking for more of an amusement park ride? Well, then, you know, frequencies that make you fucking your asshole pucker are a must. And also like the juxtaposition between silence and super loud noises. Okay, does anybody else have any pertinent questions? Anybody else? What are ways that you would like to see horror change? What has been overdone and what does the genre need more of?
Wow, that's very cool.
Man, that's a pretty broad question. I think there are so many different horror movies that you can always find what you're looking for. I don't know if I have a specific gripe with the horror genre in general. Terrifier, yay or nay? I think Terrifier is a great torture porn movie if you're into that kind of thing. I don't think it's like high art by any means. I don't think it's like a movie, like a must-see movie. But if you're a fucking torture porn degenerate, who's just always looking for like the most intense hit you can find, then yeah, it's perfect. Is the audition torture porn? In a way, it has a little bit more substance, I think, than torture porns typically have. I would say it has torture porn violence in it. I know you've probably answered plenty of times, but what's your opinion on Nosferatu? As someone who doesn't typically love horror films, I loved it. Are you talking about the new Nosferatu? I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. I liked the meme about bouncing on it crazy style more than I liked the actual movie. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I think I really like Robert Eggers. I really do. I think he's great. He's such a cool filmmaker. That I enjoyed it. I didn't, I don't know if I like came out of it like best horror movie ever. It's also a movie that I've seen like 100 times. You know what I mean? Like I've probably seen every Nosferatu film or film based on Nosferatu. So it was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. We're redoing this. Do you have a favorite creature feature? Do you even have to ask? The thing is, I'll say this. The Thing is probably my favorite horror movie. I don't think it's the best. I wouldn't make that argument. The best and my favorite is always different. But I've watched The Thing 100 fucking times. And every time I watch it, I go, yes! Yes, dude! Fucking yes! Like that, The Thing is the shit, man. That movie is the shit, bro. What is the best horror movie? I would say it's either The Exorcist or The Shining. Those two are so fucking tight. They're so tight, man. Really? Yeah. 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 Dude, The Exorcist to this day. And then the dark horse answer for me for best horror movie ever is Rosemary's Baby. I think Rosemary's Baby is one of those movies that, like, I don't know anybody who has watched Rosemary's Baby who gets to the end of it and is like,
cool.
well, that wasn't that bad.
Love, you pay pig.
Oh, thank you, Ty Guy. I think, I don't know if there is a soul alive who gets to the final credits of Rosemary's Baby and is like, not scary. Rosemary's Baby is that movie. That movie was made in the 1960s. And to this day, you show it to someone who hasn't seen it and they're like, oh, fuck, man. Shit, dude. Fuck. Godzilla -1, a horror movie or nah. You make an argument for it. I love Godzilla -1. Love Godzilla -1. The Wailing is the best? Dude, The Wailing is tough, bro. The Wailing is... I remember the first time I watched The Wailing, I was like...
take no shit from anyone.
Ruth, I for getting me more into movies.
I saw
worries.
Anemone. Daniel Day-Lewis was incredible as always, but
Sure.
his son Ronan really surprised me. Great shots,
Nice.
music, and tone throughout.
Cool.
It was cathartic. I legit wept, and it feels so relevant right now.
All right. Hell yeah. I got to check it out. So what's the distinction between a horror film versus a film with horror elements? I mean, it's arbitrary,
Oh, yeah,
to be
wow,
honest
that's
with
very
you.
cool.
What
It's
do you
just a
think
way
about
to-
Insidious? Also, thanks for the laughs and banger
Thank you.
suggestions you give.
Thank
Mwah.
you. It's just a way to categorize films, to be honest. It's like the Dewey Decimal System. It's arbitrary. It's just how we categorize films. Like, I don't think really anybody cares what genre a film is in as long as they enjoy it, right? So this is just a way of us, like, differentiating. Someone asked about Insidious. I love Insidious. I think Insidious's biggest problem as a film is that it spawned so many subsequent projects. Like that's literally Insidious's biggest crime, is that it was the ship that launched 1,000 films.
My computer broke.
What?
I don't know. I was suddenly it went crazy.
Your computer broke?
Well, don't tell anyone I'm here because I decided it'd be iconic if I just that was my last stream and I just
Can you turn it back on?
it was kind of doing crazy stuff, so I just
Oh shit.
no, I think it'll be okay.
I wonder if it was like a power surge or something.
I don't know. I was playing a game and then suddenly everything froze. Like,
What game were you
around
playing?
me.
A what?
Chilla's art game.
Oh.
I was playing a horror game and I said in the game I was like, I quit. That's it. Job. And
Oh
then
God.
Everything froze. Like every time I went on my computer, and then I couldn't clear out.
Did it blue screen?
It started like doing weird stuttering.
Did you get the game off Steam? Okay. Good. I'll come take a look in a bit.
Oh, I mean, it's fine. But wouldn't it be iconic if I just like that was it and I never said anything?
And that you were just done.
It just was gone.
I
just gone girl myself.
my computer is also like dying because it has a what is it? The Intel, it's degrading itself. So
What?
yeah, I gotta
Did you
get it.
just-
No, it isn't old. It's like 2.5 years old.
How? That's young, right?
PCs don't last as long as you'd think.
Really?
I mean, we run them pretty hard too. Put some miles on this bad boy.
Weird.
13th or 14th gen Intel. Yeah.
Anyway, that's what happened to me.
All right, Bubby. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it for our movie night. I want to thank you guys for showing up. I hope you had a good time. Whose first movie night was it? Are you still here? Did we have anybody make it to the end of the actual class? 90% of people watch the movie and bail. At least my new people made it. First time. Loved it. All right. Okay. We learned something. Great. Well, cool. Recommend me a horror to watch while stoned. The Void. Hereditary is better than Midsummer. 100% agree. Anyway, what movie did you watch? We watched Scream. I'm going to send you over to Jay Dilla. I think we are going to play some Dark and Darker later. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope you had a good time. We've been doing this for so many years now. I think we're almost on our 250th movie, which feels crazy. But yeah, we've been doing this for a long time, and I'm always so grateful that we have so many enthusiastic people who show up and give new movies a chance. because I really am a believer in movies and their effect that they could have on people and how they can make us better, more empathetic humans. And thank you for letting me share my passion with you. So, with that being said, stay dangerous, everybody. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yes.
I've been here every week for 2 years. Love movie night at Neff Pride. Love.
Thank you. Dark and Darker later tonight. Yeah, I was going to play Dark and Darker with Jay tonight. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for always showing up. Hope you had a great time. Stay dangerous. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Tyler. Last minute subscriptions. All right, you goons. Stop. Give Jay the same love and respect that you would give me. Why isn't it letting me raid? This is so strange. I've never seen such a thing. Anyway, there it goes. All right, y'all. Adios. Bye-bye.